The sculpt work on this figure, like the fur texture that you see here, is pretty amazing. This figure does two things well that I always harp on a lot. And the first thing is that it's a satin finish to the figure. So it's not super glossy, so it doesn't look cheap. And the second thing is, in order to bring out that wonderful sculpt, they added shading in the crevices of the fur, making the figure pop even more. But this is just the aesthetic. How does the articulation hold up? But before we go on to articulation, let's look at the height. To the top of the head, it is about just a teeny bit over 7 inches. So this is gonna be out of scale with your other 6-inch figures. But if you pose her, depending on how you want to pose her, you should be fine. Now, on to articulation. Starting with the head. The head can look down that much, and that's pretty good considering the size of her head. It can look up that much, which is also pretty good considering the size of her head. It can rotate all the way around. You get excellent side to side. I think there's a ball joint somewhere in here. And the way the head is situated, they have it at least like it's an actual loose-fitting helmet on a human's head. So it's a little bit of looseness to it. So I like that added touch. For the arms go all the way around. You get a swivel at the bicep and a double hinge elbow that works wonderfully. You also get a hinge at the wrist, swivel at the wrist. So in all, that is really good. And you get a little butterfly joint, which come across the chest pretty well. So that's pretty good. That's actually really good. For the torso, she can lean forward without using her hips pretty far and pretty far back. I think this is a very good joint. Side to side, works nicely. And you get a turn at the waist. So in all, and it doesn't hurt the sculpt when you use that turn at the waist. So overall, this figure is really killing it, especially at the price point. Next, we have the legs. As usual, we're going to start with the splits, and we run into a problem that I've run into before. Whenever you try to do the splits with her leg, the leg comes off. I don't know if I'm forcing the joint a little bit too much or what, but that's something that happens with a couple. I have another copy of this figure, and it happens the same way. But luckily, it's easy to put back on. It's just that, like I said, it has a tendency to want to come off. So you can get the splits, but you're going to have to basically take them off and then put them back on, which is annoying, but what are you going to do? You can kick, let's see. You can kick really high, or decently high, higher than a lot of other figures. It kicks back, but it goes way out to the side, so that's, whatever. You get a double jointed knee, and you get a hinge at the ankle. It goes up that far, down that far, toe hinge, and you get a hard to use ankle rocker. You gotta play with it a little bit to get it to work properly. So overall, that is pretty good. Only thing I would say is that I don't know why the legs pop off. The legs shouldn't be popping off if I'm posing a figure. Now luckily, it's easy to put back on. It'll just pop right back on, but that's one decent knock against the figure so far. For accessories, Cuddle Team Leader comes with 3 of them. She comes with the little black bow that you see on her back, and she comes with an assault rifle and her harvesting tool. Now the assault rifle, I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty dull and drab. It's black. It's just black and brown plastic. There's no type of shading on it, or is it black and silver? I mean black, brown, and silver, or is it just black? Can't really tell. But either way, it's very drab. There's no extra dry brushing or any type of shading to bring out the sculpt on the gun. It's just whatever. The harvesting tool is the most interesting thing because, of course, the bow on her back is just a flat black. It's like nothing else to it. It's very basic. But I'm pretty sure that's probably how it is in the game. Now, the harvesting tool is the most interesting thing because it's the most colorful thing. The paints on it are very clean, just like how it is for the main figure. But overall, accessories are fine. This is not a super expensive figure, so I can only expect for her to come with so many accessories. Overall, this is a really good figure, especially for the price point. It is $25 and you're getting this level of sculpt work and paint on this figure. It seems like for the most part they spared no expense. Now typically, what I would say about a figure like this is that... she fell over. I'll just rest her for now. But typically what I would say about a figure like this is, you could have more accessories, but the accessories that she came with is good enough. Remember, it's only $25. It's not one of those high-end figures where you're getting you gotta pay $60+ $50 for the figure. This is only a $20 figure. The biggest gripe is those legs popping off. They definitely, I shouldn't be posing my figure and the legs popping off, and that could potentially lead to some looseness of the legs. Now luckily, let me shake her a little bit. The legs are still tight, and it doesn't seem to affect the looseness, but that's just something that you really don't... Let me stand it back up. It's something that you really would rather not have to deal with when you're posing your figure. That's something that shouldn't be that's not something that should be a problem. Forget it, I'm gonna lay it down for now. It was hard to balance it. But with that, I would still, even with that flaw, I would still recommend the figure, because one, it's a $20 figure, so you're not paying a whole lot for this figure. But two, the overall aesthetic for this character, and Fortnite has Mcfarlane has the luxury of working with this wonderful character design. Just off the what I'm trying to say is that just off the character design alone, I would recommend this figure. I would just say be wary of those legs popping off. Of course, they pop right back on, and then you can pose it however you like. But legs popping off is definitely a no-no. The overall aesthetic, I think, saves this figure. And that's about it. There's not a whole lot to say about this figure. It's not like it has like a humongous backstory or anything like that. This figure is definitely a dope figure. Go pick her up. She's still like $25 on Amazon if you're a Fortnite fan, or if you just like the character design. Now, if you're not, if you don't care for any of those things, then forget about it. But stay tuned to the end for pictures, and until the next time, the reverse flow out.